Welcome back, beautiful souls. How are you today? Hopefully, your day is treating you well. Welcome back to the IURW community. IURW, for those of you who are new, is intentional, unapologetic, rooted woman, rooted in the woman that you already are, not in the woman that you're trying to create. Um, I am the founder of IURW, and here in this community, we come to um, heal ourselves because this is not a group project, but pull into each other to keep each other going because sometimes motivation is just not enough. So, today I want to talk about, before we get there, because before we even go on, I have to, as usual, read from my book. So, this is my book. It is called Finding Her Breath. You can find it on Amazon. Um, I said I was going to post a link, and I promise you, when God tells me to, I will. Until then, for those of you who are ready to support me today, um, you can go to Amazon Bookstore and put in Finding Her Breath by April Harris, and it will come up. This is the picture. Please take a screenshot. Boom. You can find it there. As usual, I'm just going to open up. I'm going to skim through. I'm going to open up. Y'all got me a new light, and I think I like it this way. I think I do. And I'm going to read something. A paragraph. This is a short one. The manner in which we direct our mental spotlight profoundly shapes our lived experience. It is not simply about what happens to us, but rather about where we choose to direct our attention in the midst of those happenings. If our gaze is perpetually fixed on the obstacles, the perceived shortcomings, and the potential pitfalls, then our world will inevitably appear fraught with difficulty. Conversely, when we intentionally cultivate the practice of broadening our perspective, seeking out the silver linings, and acknowledging the available resources, our reality can begin to transform, becoming one of greater possibility and resilience. This is not a passive observation of what is, but an active engagement with the spectrum of what could be. In layman's terms, I always tell my kids, always find the rainbow in the pile of shit. I don't care what's going on. Be grateful for it, even if it's just a lesson. Because the challenge has got to be there. Without the challenge, you can't even recognize the blessing. So even if it's just a lesson that you're taking away from anything, find the rainbow in the pile of shit. So today I'd like to ask you something. Have you ever noticed that the biggest things slowing you down aren't always the biggest problems? Sometimes the smallest interruptions repeatedly happen every single day. A phone call that turns into 2 hours of gossip, I can't take it. I love people and I want to hear them out, but when it turns from frustrated complaining to compulsive complaining and then to gossip, that's where you lose me every single time. Checking social media for just a moment, right? That's a distraction. Because it's just a minute. I'm just going to be in for 5 minutes. Yeah, but meanwhile, between while you're not doing what you need to do for you. Then you go neglecting and abandoning yourself again. I digress. Constantly replaying an argument in your mind, trying to convince someone to understand what they've already chosen not to understand, because there are some people out here who are determined to misunderstand you. I don't care how much sense you make. They are determined not to understand what you are saying. They don't want to understand, overstand. They don't really care. They just want you to hear them most of the time. They don't really care what you're saying or what you got going on. Well, None of those things seem dangerous by themselves, but over time, they quietly began stealing your life. Quietly, I promise. One of the greatest lessons I've learned in my journey is distractions rarely announce themselves. Really, a lot of times they come across as helpful hands. They just want to help. Wherever you need me, just let me know. And that's cool in the beginning, right? But like I told y'all, and I tell you again, I'm gonna keep telling you, this healing process, this healing journey is not a group project. You do not need anybody with you. There will come, you'll come in contact with people who will bring you some piece of knowledge or will give you some sort of confirmation for the knowledge that you've already obtained. But when it comes to this healing thing, nobody. I don't care how close they can't even get in your skin and understand what you're going through, so you can be able to heal and get what you need from it. I promise. Um, they don't knock. Distractions rarely knock on your door and say, "Hi, I'm here to delay your healing." They don't say that. No, they a lot of times they come as trauma bonds, right? People who have been through similar things in life that has caused them the same hurt that you experience, where you can see y'all can identify with each other, or there's so many similarities yet we're so different. That's typically a trauma bond, right? And trauma bonds aren't always bad. Sometimes they are necessary so you can see yourself in the mirror in a 3D way, where it's not your face, but it's the characteristics of you, right? Different face, different person type situation. Even though we're all a reflection of each other, totally different subject. Um, they often disguise themselves, though, y'all, as urgency, obligation, emergency, siblings, mothers, fathers, nieces, sometimes even your children, curiosity, drama, fear, sometimes even comparison. Do you understand? They need to be understood all the time. They need to be right most of the time. They need to rescue everyone while being a cheerleader sometimes for most, right? Sometimes they even arrive looking like a beautiful opportunity, gold wrapped in a bow. Sometimes they do, right? And what makes distraction so dangerous is they don't always ask you to stop pursuing your purpose. No. They simply ask you to postpone it. They simply ask you to a lot of time, like, okay, I work hard. I push the envelope. Some will call me a workaholic, right? But I'm gonna do all of it at the same time. I love a challenge. So yes, I might miss out on a few hours of sleep, but I'm gonna get everything that I desire to do. This is what I've grown to. Everything that I desire to do and everything that I need to do, I'm gonna fit it all in one day. That is the desire. Every night I might go to sleep not doing two things intentionally, because I think I can. I call it's a mental mind play on sacrificing. Either way, I digress. Right? So people have a tendency of telling me, you need to just take a break, you need to rest, you need to rest. And I might listen to the person or people the first time. But I do start to feel away when a person keeps telling me that, when they know all that I have going on. I have 6 children. I am running a household. I'm raising children, because raising children is different from just supervising them. Raising children requires you to be active and present, and I am very much active and present for all of them. Um, I have elected to take on a job where I work for an organization. Although I make my own schedule, I still work for somebody else, and I am now currently working for myself. Like I said, hello, how are you doing? I am the founder of IURW, right? And I'm an author, so I'm also I'm creating. I'm a content creator, so I'm creating, all in an effort for all of it to come back to my soul's purpose. But when people constantly tell me, you need to take a break, I start to feel away after a while, because I feel like you know what I got going on, you know what my desire. If we like that, I done already told you what my desires and my dreams are. You don't know me to be a quitter, so why would you keep telling me to stop? Oh, I immediately will believe that you are a distraction. Your purpose, all in all, was to distract me, postpone me from accomplishing my desires, my dreams, my aspirations, um, my goals. I don't care what word you put on it. Pick one. You're here to postpone me. That's what I think. So I want you to know though that when they tell you, when I hear people tell me that constantly, because sometimes they tell me you can do this tomorrow. Just take a break today, but today turns into tomorrow, and then the next day and the next day. See, to know me is to know that I suffer with depression, so I cannot afford to be laying in the bed for an extra hour. No, 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 no. I must rest and rise. Period. If I rest and then relax, oh, I might be in that bed for a month, but for something that was just an extra hour supposedly. Can't do it, right? So then the next day comes and it turns out to be the next month. Like I said, right? It's just a whole month then gone by. And then shoot, if it's real bad, a month can turn into a year. All for one day of rest because somebody else persuaded me to do something outside of what I know best is best for me. There we go again. That would be me abandoning myself because I know what's best for me. So if I feel like it's my body will tell me when it's time to rest. Until then, it's time to go. Put the foot on the pedal. Let's get to the metal. You understand? Period. Point blank. I just want you to think about something now. Not everything that demands your attention deserves your attention. Not everything that demands your attention deserves your attention. Not everything that demands your attention deserves your attention. Not everything that, y'all need me to repeat it again? I'm going to repeat it one more time. Not everything that demands your attention deserves your attention. There will always be another option, okay? There will always be another option because there will always be another opinion. Absolutely. There will always be another opinion. There will always be another crisis. There will always be another notification. There will always be another emergency. There will always be another disagreement. There will always be another reason to stop what you're doing for you. I promise. But if everything becomes important, my question is, what actually is important? Because if everything becomes important, nothing truly is important. You kind of like cancel each other out. If everything is important, if everything you rated from 1 to 5, if everything, and 1 being the greatest, everything comes back at a 1, then how do you prioritize? How do you know what is most important? Nothing is most important because everything is at a 1. I'm just saying. So I want to introduce you to a word that I've been using in the IURW community, okay? I have been using stewardship. I have been utilizing the word stewardship. And most people think stewardship is about money, okay? I think stewardship begins with attention. Because where your attention goes, your life eventually follows. Your habits become your character. Your character shapes your future. So every time you intentionally choose your friends, right? Every time you intentionally choose where your attention belongs, right? You are making an investment and becoming the person that you're becoming. You are making an investment in the person you are becoming. Every single time you intentionally choose where your attention belongs, you are making an investment in the person that you are becoming. Okay? So if we think about that in the aspect of roots, right? Just for a minute. A tree doesn't always grow because it spends all day watching the trees around it. It grows because it remains connected to its source. Okay? So what if we live that way? Less comparison, less reaction, less distraction, more intentionality, more learning, more becoming. Now, I'm going to say something that might make you uncomfortable. It might. But sometimes we become addicted to distraction. Just like we become addicted to chaos and sweets and sugar and soda and uh, adult, what they call it, adult broccoli or something like that. We become addicted to the distraction. Not because we enjoy the chaos, right? Not because we enjoy the toxic environmental behaviors, but because distraction keeps us from facing the deeper work within us, the work that we have to do to overcome things that's holding us, our obstacles, right? And like I told you once before, and I'm going to tell you once again, healing requires honesty. It requires you to be honest with you, about you, to you. This is not a group project. This is a solo dolo journey. So you're going to have to be able to sit still and literally like tell yourself the truth about you to you. Period. By yourself. Okay? Purpose requires discipline, y'all. Growth requires reflection. Growth requires reflection. Distraction asks for none of those things. All of those things can be avoided, can be ignored when you're dealing with distraction. You don't have to be honest, disciplined, or you don't have to see yourself or have any reflection of what is going on in your life. Do you understand that? It simply asks, distraction only asks for your attention. That is the only thing it asks for. I got another truth for you. There are people who may expect your attention because that's the pattern they've become accustomed to. That does not automatically make them bad people. Because beyond the fact that you made them believe that they could do that, right? Because you teach people how to treat you. Period. First and foremost. Sometimes people are lonely. Sometimes people are hurting. Sometimes they're simply repeating themselves. They're simply repeating patterns they've always been shown. They don't know any better. Legitimately. They're only doing what they know to do because that's what they were shown and told and taught to do. Period. But you can care about somebody without allowing every demand on your attention to become your responsibility. That simply said, I'm going to repeat it again because ain't nobody here without comprehension. So, you can care about people without allowing every person's or without allowing every demand on your attention to become your responsibility. Mind your business. All in all, mind your business. It ain't got nothing to do with you. It just don't. Be okay with saying, no, that's not my business. My kids told me that. My 16-year-old actually taught me that. He'd tell you quick, that's not my business. And you can plead to him and he'll be like, that's a skill issue. That's what it sounds like to me because I told you it's not my business, and you insist on trying to make it my business. My daughter will let you look you flat in your face. My oldest one, look you flat in your face and say, I'm not trying to get involved. Love it. Because boundaries are not a rejection of people. Boundaries are not a rejection of people. They're a way of protecting the commitments you've made to yourself, to your healing, to your family, to your purpose, to your peace. I told you my kids told me that they 16 and 14. I had to learn that so my life can change. Every yes has a hidden no. I had to learn that. Every yes has a hidden no. For example, my oldest son will tell me, I'll say, hey, do you feel like cleaning the chicken? And he'll say, no, I don't feel like it, but if you need me to, I will. Or if you're telling me to, I will. Or if you just ask me, I'll do it. You understand? So every yes has a hidden no. Yes, he'll do it for me, but no, he don't feel like it. Very honest. I love it. That's what I encourage here. But I love the fact that he's very honest. No, I don't feel like it, but I'll do it for you because you're my mother. You don't feel like doing it. That's fine by me. You understand? But I ask him, I could easily say, go clean the chicken. No, I ask him because his boundaries count too. He's a person. And not just because he's 21, because before he was 21, I remember getting in arguments with his father about allowing this little boy to have a voice. Absolutely, they're people. They must have a voice. They must feel like their boundaries are being respected. Even though I get the last word, and they'll let you know that they're not always happy with my decision, but it's important that it starts at home first, right? I digress. All right. When I say yes to endless distraction, I'm saying no to my children. Okay? No to my dreams, no to my health, no to my peace, no to becoming who I am called to be, no to my soul's purpose, the audacity. When I had that realization, at that moment, the way I began starting guarding my time, the way I began becoming unapologetic about saying no, the way the words people pleaser just didn't rest well with me, no longer. And all I'm saying to you is today that at IURW, we don't teach people to ignore everyone, okay? We teach people to intentionally choose what deserves their attention. If it don't deserve your attention, unapologetically, with great intention, set a strong boundary. That's not who I am as a woman, as a person, as a soul. Can't do it. It's fine. I love you still. Don't owe you no explanation. Won't even attempt to give one. Because we teach people to intentionally choose what deserves their attention. Do you understand? Because your attention is not a gift that you can just give away with ease. Your attention is one of the most valuable gifts you'll ever possess. Attention. Listen, who is that? Is that Janaea Aiko who says attention? She say attention costs a lot of money, something like that. But it's the fact. Okay? So I encourage you to spend it on things that help you become the woman, not that you desire to be, but you already are. Reach back and catch that girl and bring her to the forefront. Let your past timeline meet your new timeline. Collapse the ones in between. That's called healing. That's called healing. Now listen. When I say spend your attention on things that help you become, I don't mean on the things that keep you busy. No, that's a distraction. That's that distraction again. So, today, before you reach for your phone, before you replay that conversation in your head, before you answer another unnecessary argument, ask yourself one question. And please, I beg of you, for all of you who are new, I asked you to go get a journal. I don't care. It could be some newspaper, a composition book. It could be a spiral notebook. Get you a journal. As we go along in these conversations, I plan on having 30 conversations to start, right? If I don't do nothing else for y'all, having you become comfortable with journaling so you won't feel like you need these people who calling your phone with these fake emergencies telling you that you're the only one that can do this thing that they need you to do, so you can become unavailable for these misusers around you, right? You got to first know how to be by yourself. In order to be by yourself, you got to, because everybody got to get it out. Get it out on paper. Keep it between you, yourself, and yourself. Like, right? So that's what we're going to do. I want you to put this as one of your excerpts in your journal. Ask yourself this question. Will this move me closer to the life I'm intentionally building? What is this? This is whatever. Pick something. Will this move me closer to the life I'm intentionally building or farther away from it? If the answer is farther away, that means any and everything that the decisions that you make on a daily basis, that's what we're talking about. Before you make that decision, you should stop and think always. Let this be a question. Will this move me closer to the life I'm intentionally building or farther away from it? If the answer is farther away from it, give yourself permission to let go of it. Without guilt, without apology, without anger, without resentment, without upset, simply because your purpose deserves your attention. Period. Point blank, period. Okay, y'all? If this conversation resonated with you in any kind of way, please do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share it with somebody that you feel like can benefit from these conversations. Okay? Again, I am April, the founder of IURW, Intentional Unapologetic Rooted Woman. Rooted in the woman that you already are. We ain't creating no women over here. We are going back to the core of the woman that we were before. The girl, the woman, the female, divine feminine we were before we were conditioned and indoctrinated to believe that we had to be a certain kind of way to be a good woman, good girl, good person. I want you to know that your dreams are waiting for your attention. Your healing is waiting for your attention. Your family deserves your attention. Your purpose deserves your attention. Don't spend your life becoming an expert in distractions. All the while remaining a beginner in your own calling, your own soul's purpose, being authentically who you already are without lesson. Stay intentional, y'all. Stand unapologetically in your truth. Remain rooted in your worth. Okay? And keep becoming. I'll see y'all in the next conversation. Thank y'all for joining me.